Hello, everyone, and welcome to another Stress Less, Accomplish More call. My name is Stephanie Matos. I'm a mindset coach here on the Brightly Thrive team, and I'm super excited to be here with you today on this beautiful Monday afternoon. It might be morning for you. It might be nighttime, wherever you're at. I'm just happy that you're here. If you're watching the replay, thank you so much for watching the replay. And if you're here with me live, I really appreciate you being here with me live. It really means a lot to me. I know everybody's got really busy schedules. There's a lot going on. So I understand that it really is something to celebrate that you guys have chosen to be here with me today. So I really appreciate that. And we started with wins today. So before I hit record, I asked the folks that were on the call to share a win. And so I'm going to read those really quick. If you are watching the replay and you want to share your win, maybe in a Slack channel, or there is a Google Doc floating around, I believe in Slack, where you can write me questions if you're unable to join the calls live. But you can also maybe pop in there and just type in, here's my win. I'd be happy to celebrate your wins with you elsewhere besides on this call. Although I would like to personally invite you to this call. If you've never met me before, if you've never been on this call, I want to invite you to come on this call. It is every single Monday and Thursday. We do have once a month where it is an evening on, sorry, every Monday and Thursday. And then there's once evening on Wednesday evening. And you do not have to speak. You do not have to have your camera on. You're more than welcome to show up as you are. You can just listen. You can listen in the background. You can listen while you're doing other work. You're just welcome to come as you would like. Okay, so let's get started here. Hannah Jade wrote, acknowledging my feelings today as a win. I would say that that is a huge win. And it's something that I think a lot of us can maybe start to implement that a little bit more in our lives, is just acknowledging and accepting how we feel in the moment. It's I think sometimes we fear our emotions sometimes because sometimes they can be quite intense and that can cause us to kind of push them down. And so when we understand that we are actually more powerful than any emotion that we might feel, it actually, they lose their charge. So any worries or frustrations or anxieties or stresses, we're talking a lot about stress in this call, as the title of the call says, it's really, really beneficial when we can do that. So thanks for sharing that. And then Randy shares here, got to see a good friend and his family on Sunday. That is epic. I'm so happy that you were able to spend some time with some good people. Community is so important. And that is another thing that I really value about these calls, is that we could really have a sense of community. Like, I have seen Randy now a couple times. So now I'm feeling like we're kind of friends, And so I'm happy that you're here, Randy, consistently, so I can get to know you better and we can kind of form this bond as a community. It really, really, really helps so much. So what I would love to do now is open up for any questions, comments, concerns, challenges, any topics. They don't have to be anything bad. It could be something cool. I want to give you guys the opportunity to bring something up that maybe has been showing up for you in your reality, in your life, that I might be able to support you with. And if you don't have anything, that is okay too. But I want to start to encourage you guys to share and talk. If you don't have anything today, like I said, no worries, but I want to give you guys a moment to do so if you would like. So if you would like to unmute and chat to me about things, you're more than welcome. And if you prefer to type it, you're more than welcome to do that as well. Anybody. Okay. If you change your mind, I have something in the chat. Let's see. A part of me fears things going wrong in the future. How do I reassure that part is all okay? So first of all, Hannah Jade, I want to honor you for acknowledging this, and I would love to chat with you about it. And I also am really, really glad that you have given me an amazing example of a question, comment, concern, or challenge that somebody else might be able to ask me in future calls. So thank you so much for that. So let's just read this one more time and think about how we might have done this in our own lives. So for example, I know I have done this quite frequently in my life, and it's something that I still actively work on to this very day. A part of me fears things going wrong in the future. How do I reassure that part it's okay? It's all okay. So our human brain is a very interesting brain, and it's very unique to any other species, where we can literally create realities in the future that may never happen or that completely made up but feel very real. Okay. So our dogs don't do this, cats don't do this, any other animal planet don't really do this. They're mostly living in the present moment, a lot of these animals, right? They might kind of past pace. So if they had somebody be mean to them in the past, they might remember that in the present, but they're not future pacing out into a future that causes them a lot of stress and anxiety. And so there is a little bit of a common phrase that says if you're spending a lot of time in the future, that can cause a lot of anxiety. And if you spend too much time in the past, that can cause a lot of guilt, shame, blame, right? Because we can't reverse things, we can't turn back the clock, the hands of time, and redo things. So we have a tendency to kind of ruminate on what we didn't do, feel bad or guilty. However, when we future pace too much forward, we have a tendency to go into anxiety and also a lot of stress. And so really what that shows us is that present moment thinking. And so just to kind of explain what present moment is. Present moment is the current moment that we're in. It's where our sole focus is on the activity, person, place, thing, idea, belief that is directly in front of us in the second that it's in front of us. Anything else is future pacing or past pacing, which those are where we kind of don't want to be. Now, what's interesting about this is because our brain is geared towards the negative, so our brain has a tendency to place more value on something negative than it does a positive thing. So I'll give you an example. If I post something on Facebook, let's pretend, and 100 people say, "Great, good, good, that's awesome," and one person says, "You look weird. You sound horrible. I hate what you're saying. You should just get yourself offline and go hide and go to a desert island somewhere and just forget what you're doing," right? Which one is the one that's going to keep me up at night? It's the one negative one, not the 100 positive ones, right? That's the one that's gonna, be nagging at you. And that's because our brain literally is firing more. So if you do scans of the brain when they do pleasant things like happy faces and cute babies and things like that, the brain has activity and it acknowledges cute things, happy things, laughing things, stuff like that. But when we do negative things, scary things, mean faces, that kind of thing, the brain really lights up, right? A lot of this is for survival, right? However, because of that reason, when we future pace, a lot of the times it's a negative thing or a scary thing or what could go wrong instead of what could go right. So one of the things that we can do if we're accidentally future pacing a lot, most of us do this, by the way. And actually, Randy, are you tracking this? I kind of know Hannah Jade is understanding what I'm saying, but I want to make sure that this is speaking to you as well. Is that something that you can resonate with, is like creating a future that feels very scary, or the what ifs, or oh my gosh and how bad it can be and all of this kind of stuff, right?
Oh yeah.
So okay, so Randy says, "Oh yeah, you're not alone. You're not alone." And I've already said that this is something that I had to work on pretty diligently to unravel the neurology that I had around this, because my mindset was very pessimistic. So I had a set point of pessimism, which was nobody's going to like me. Nobody's going to like it. What's the point? That's scary. This is going to go wrong. What if that goes wrong? I might as well stay home and do nothing. Right? I might as well not go for the job or try for the thing, because it's going to go fall apart anyway. So what's the point, right? So what is really, really helpful is using scripting. So I worked at a company with a guy named Dr. Jim Lair, and I worked with him for about 5 years, and he wrote a book called The Power of Story, right? And the reason why this is such an impactful exercise is because we really do tell ourselves some powerful stories around money, around our bosses, around our coworkers, around all different kinds of things that could possibly potentially go wrong. And we don't have a crystal ball to say, yes, that is correct. But it feels so correct in the mind that then everything that we do from an action taking place is in alignment with that scary story, right? So, what he really recommends that people do in this book, The Power of Story, is to write out your old story. So, who you are, what you expect, how you future pace. And when I say future pacing, it's the vision of the future that's big, bold, and bright in your mind. And then from there, once you have all of the pretty much negatives, a lot of times the old story is quite negative about what could go wrong. I'm scared of this. What if somebody doesn't like me? What if I stutter when I'm on camera? What if nobody shows up to my call? What if, right? once you have all of this, basically you have a template for the news story. And the news story can become a very powerful mechanism for change. So the news story says, what if everything could go right? What if I go for this opportunity and it goes amazingly well? What if I talk to my boss or my manager or my coworker about this thing and they actually take it really well and smile and everything's fine? What if I actually know how to handle things even if they don't go well, right? What if I'm so resilient that no matter when things go wrong, I know they're leading me to something even better? Right? So it's this or something better, this or something better, this or something better. So allowing some flexibility in the mindset around things. So once you write the news story, which also has a very powerful why statement attached to it, we'll talk about whys in a different call. We could really talk about having a very powerful why statement as a whole 30-minute call. So I'm going to save that. But why is it important for you to change? I'll use myself as an example. It was so important for me to change because I was absolutely miserable living the way that I was. I was stressed out of my mind. I was very anxious. I was unhappy. I wasn't living a very great life. So the alternative was, let me focus on this. It might not be easy and I might not totally believe it right now, but let me move forward towards this because the alternative doesn't sound very great, right? So my why was very powerful when it came to committing myself to this new lifestyle, this new way of thinking, feeling, and acting, this new way of implementing this new story. So once you have the new story, you want to make the new story so big and bold and bright in your mind and in your memories that that is what you focus on. So rather than it, so let's pretend like this little headphone case is my vision of the future. And this vision of the future is very scary. What if it all goes wrong? All of this kind of stuff. What happens is that it's going to repel me back, not to it. Like it's going to repel me back towards, I'm so scared of this. I got to run away from it. So let me hide in food, or let me hide in alcohol, or let me hide in, relationships that don't really serve me, or let me hide in, all of these negative things that aren't good for me, right? Because this is like, right? So what we want this to become is so big, bold, and bright and happy and positive that it's like a magnet pulling you towards it. It's a magnet pulling you towards it that is connected to belief, faith, trust, confidence, a calm feeling in your body, trusting yourself, trusting where you're being guided, trusting that this is a construct of your mind and the mind doesn't know the difference between real and fake. Right? So since the mind doesn't know the difference between real and fake, when this big scary thing in our mind is saying this is scary, our brain really doesn't have the capacity to go, but wait, what is it? Is it really? It just feels those chemical cocktail of events happening in the body that connects it to the mindset, connects it to the memory, connects it to the neurology, and then kind of keeps you stuck where you're at. We talked a little bit about this in the last call. Randy was there. We talked quite a bit about how your body can get a memorized response. So then if you're constantly, like I was, constantly thinking that the future version is so scary, I got into a habitual pattern of behaviors and feelings, self-talk, thought processes, and beliefs that were all associated with, of course it's going to be bad. Of course it's going to be bad. Of course it's going to be bad. So then it got me into staying stuck where I was at because I didn't want to move forward towards it because it was so scary. So when you write this new story, which is the life that you want, the health that you want, the outcomes that you want, the level of stress that you want or don't want, the type of home you'd like to live in, the type of life you'd like to have, the type of friendships that you'd like to have, all of this stuff can be included in this new story. What you do is you read it over and over and over again. And you read it over and over again, and you keep it maybe pinned in your office, or you keep it on your phone, maybe as an image, or you leave it as your home screen, or whatever it is, so that you're seeing it quite frequently and reminding yourself, oh, yes, oh, yes, oh, yes, oh, yes. It is safe to be who I am. It is safe to have the type of dreams and hopes and wishes that I would like. It is safe for me to want to have the relationships with my coworkers and my direct reports and, the people that are above me, the people who are next to me, the people who are all of these people. I'm allowed to have it be the way that I want it. It's actually safe for me to believe this. And the more and more and more that we do this, the more and more and more we start to see it in our reality. It's kind of interesting how when the thoughts and beliefs change, what you see changes. And it's not magic. It's not magic. It's literally because the filter system opens up to it from a fixed mindset to a flexible growth-based mindset. And so what happens is that what you're not seeing all of a sudden becomes unveiled. So then it's like things and opportunities and happiness and all kinds of stuff start to come into your reality. But really, the truth is they were always there. It was just the filter system wasn't set to see it. So I've done a lot of talking. I would love to hear if any one of you two have any questions. Hannah, do you have any questions, Hannah Jade or Randy? Anything to add? I know I talked a lot. I'm talking a little bit fast because time goes fast in these calls. Oh, that's good. She says, no, this is so helpful. I'm so happy that's really helpful. So in the last call, we talked a little bit about a head mind and a body mind. And this is kind of pertaining to Hannah Jade's question as well. So the head mind, in my experience, after working with a lot of people on this kind of thing, the head mind gets on board before the body mind. And what I mean by that is that you can go, yes, of course I can change that. Yes, of course the future can be safe and bold and bright and exciting. Yes, it can. Yes, it can. And then the body goes, are you sure about that? The body goes and starts to do what it does best, which is its memorized behavior, which is feeling overwhelmed or feeling anxious or feeling stressed or feeling whatever it is, right? And so some of this is allowing this enough time to get this online. So it's kind of like when you're training a little puppy, right? It's like, no, you do this here. No, you go to the bathroom outside. You go to the bathroom outside. You go to the bathroom outside. And then one day you go, oh, they just begged to go out. They did it, right? And so this is what we're doing is that we're helping this unravel the biology and neurology that's connected to fear and aligning it with this and because it doesn't happen like an on off switch, like off negative feelings and emotion, on positive feelings and emotion, off stress and anxiety, on confidence and belief, faith and trust, right? I wish that it could be that simple. However, it is more like a dimmer switch, right, where over time it's getting less and less and less and less and less. So you might not have the exact result you want today, but it's going to be less intense tomorrow than it was today, and then the next day, and so on and so forth. Let me just see this real quick. That is so true. Trying to get my body to believe me. Yes. Okay, so let's talk about that. What we can do is, so there's a little breathing technique, and it's got a name, but I can't remember the name of it right now. And if I would have known that I was going to teach it, I would have looked it up before I got on with you guys. But it's very, very simple, where it's 2 breaths in and 1 breath out, and 2 breaths in and 1 breath out. And what we can do amongst a lot of other things, and I think Hannah Jade, you like tapping, EFT tapping, which is another thing that we can talk about in a different call. So you can tap yourself into a belief system, right? Which is body. I know right now you're not on board with me. However, I'm willing and able to do the work that it takes to change it now. I'm willing and able to allow you to go through the motions that you need to go through so that you can feel safe in this new way of belief systems that I have, and kind of talking yourself through it. When we do those breaths, it's and if you want to let it out with a sigh, I won't do that because I don't know how loud it's going to be in your ears. I won't do that to you guys. But the louder of the sigh that you do, and maybe you can do this at home, you can do it outside, you can do it in your car if you're at work or, somewhere appropriate. That's one of the best ways that you can offset the nervous system. So into the nervous system that we want, which is the calm nervous system, the belief nervous system, the one that opens up your neurology or opens up your filter system. When we are a little bit stressed, what happens is that we get tunnel visioned on, generally speaking, what could go wrong. or this is the only way that it could possibly work. So if this one way doesn't work, we're in trouble, right? And so what we want to do is open up and expand our capacity to be able to see other opportunities, see other ways, calming this down so that we can see, oh, it's safe to be myself. It's safe to change my mindset. It's safe to go into a less stressful state, right? This call is called stress less, accomplish more, right? And a lot of people right now are extremely stressed about the future. They're extremely stressed about their everyday lives. They're extremely stressed about work things. They're stressed about family things. They're stressed about future things. And so we're inundated with so much stress, and stress is that so we talked about just briefly the sympathetic and the parasympathetic. The sympathetic nervous system is the one that you don't want. It's the elevated response that feels like your head's going to blow off, or you can't breathe, or everything's very scary, or a lion or tiger or bear might come and eat you. That's what that nervous system feels like. And the parasympathetic really feels like you're sitting on the beach enjoying the waves, or maybe you like the mountains or a lake, whatever it is that feels good to you, right? That calm nervous system. And so anything that we can do while we're reading our news story, right? When we're tapping into why we're doing this through the breath, right? You can do those. Can you guys just practice that really quick? Right now we have everybody's on mute, so I can't hear you. Nobody else can hear you. You can close your eyes. Just do it a couple times, and all of a sudden you start to feel so much better. So there's a lot of different breathing techniques, and I think everybody probably has a favorite. For me, it's just breathing, to be honest. One of the things that I do when I get stressed out is that my breathing gets short and shallow, and I hold my breath. It's not something that I'm conscious of, but every once in a while I'll catch myself going, oh my goodness, I just wasn't breathing. Right. So number one, breathe. Tap into the deep breathing. Number two, there's box breathing. There's all different kinds of breathing. There's holding breath and blah, 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 blah. But this in, out, in, out. I found that it's very easy to do because you don't have to count and keep track of anything. Number two, it's kind of quiet. You can do this any place, anywhere, anytime, but nobody's going to notice. And number three, for whatever reason, in my body, and again, everybody's body's a little different, it seems to offset things very quickly. And so what we want to do is find different things that help. For some people, smelling essential oils can help. For some people, listening to certain music can help. You can have a pump up song that's like, oh yeah, I remember how powerful I am, or whatever. That's going to be different for everybody as well. For some people, it's going on a walk, getting in nature, getting some fresh air, feeling the sun on your face, or maybe the rain on your face. There's different things for everybody. And so I think it's important for each of us to also understand, what is it that starts to elicit the calm nervous system in my body? Where is it that starts to trigger the not so calm nervous system in my body? And what we're talking about right now is a version of the future that's very scary. And so when we start to think about, well, what if it all went right? What if it all went right? And what if even when it goes wrong, that's right too, right? Because I think it's very easy for us to feel good when everything's going well and everything's going right and everything is hunky dory. But who are you going to be when the going gets tough, when the going gets rough, when you feel overwhelmed, or when things don't work out, right? So this is something that is inevitable in the human existence, is that nothing is linear. So every day we don't have full energy. There's going to be some days where you have more energy than others. Every day we're not super, super happy all the time, right? But luckily, equally, every day we're not angry and resentful and stressed all the time, right? So everything is life is a little bit like this. What we're trying to avoid is high highs and low lows, where it's like, right? We want to avoid that, right? So that's something to talk about if that's kind of what it feels like. What we want to understand is that this is inevitable and this is safe. What happens is that when it dips down, a lot of times our nervous system starts to make it mean that we're going to be there forever, even though we never have been, right? So never have you ever not survived a bad day or not come out on top of a bad thing, right? We learn, we grow, we experience things. So, what we want to do is start to feel safe in the dips in motivation, the dips in inspiration, the dips in confidence, the dips in belief, faith, and trust, the dips in happiness, the dips in all of these things. When we can stop labeling this as bad and just part of the course and that there's going to be an upswing. Have you guys ever seen that reel or a little video on either YouTube or TikTok or Instagram or somewhere on Facebook where it shows how a ball that's going like this actually goes 10 times faster than one that goes straight? Have you guys seen this? It's like a physics video. And so the momentum of the up and down actually allows things to go faster to the end point, right? And so if we were to look at dips as positive in the momentum of growth, that could also help us not feel so scared of things. But in my experience, what happens is that when we have a dip, we label it as bad. And when we label something as bad, that causes a lot of fear and all of that kind of stuff. And it also makes you think, why try again? Why do this again? Why think that I could do it when I just ended up here? Right. But we're like, oh, there's an upswing, and then there's another upswing, and there's another upswing. And so I think all of us can do a lot better with supporting ourselves in the dips. And that even means if you're really tired and you had all these plans to do all of these awesome things and your body's like, I need to rest, honoring that and not labeling yourself as lazy and not labor unless you know that you're just avoiding things, right? So there's a truth and a lie component here. But if the truth is that you're just exhausted and you need a moment or a break, that's okay. It doesn't mean that you're not a good person. It actually means that you're taking care of your body at a high level. And even that is amazing, right? You guys can tell I can talk about this all day long. You guys can tell I can talk about this all day long. We have reached time for this call. Thank you guys so much for joining me today. Thank you so much for joining me on this awesome Monday. I will be back again on Thursday of this week, and I hope to see you both again on Thursday. If you're watching the replay, maybe I'll see you on Thursday. I hope to see you here on Thursday. If not Thursday, maybe Monday of next week. We have a lot of fun in this call, and I hope that you will join. And selfishly, I just want to meet you in person. So selfishly, I would like for you to come just so I can get a chance to meet you and hang out with you. All right, you guys, until we meet again, so much love. So many blessings. Oh, thank you so much, Hannah Jade. Thanks for being here. And Randy, thank you for being here. So many blessings to you. I will speak to you so soon. Bye, everybody. Bye.